Hi, welcome to another video. Today I'm going through the CPU I was working on a couple of years ago, and this is in Xilinx ISE. So let's start off with the main VHDL file. As you can see here, synthesis complete, write bit stream complete. Actually tested it. Let's see. Don't think there's any pictures here, but whatever. We can still look at the simulation, I reckon. I haven't actually tested it recently, so bear with me. It should have some good simulation files left over. This was in 2019, 2020, maybe even 2021 or 22. So far, so good. The red parts aren't that good of news, but it just means that you have to run the CPU at a lower clock frequency. That's it. Put this in the background. So here, what is WNC? Where's negative slack? What is total negative slack? Uh, can't be negative. Okay, but it still worked. Finally. So here we simulate the CPU using something called Model Sim, I believe. So how does this work again? reckon I'll do it for 100 milliseconds. Somehow here you can see it had, what is this? This is the clock. This is the state the CPU is in. This is the instruction address. I reckon that should be enough. What's happening here? Ah, nice. Keep in mind, you have SPI master as well as I2C master course that I have also written from scratch. To control, using SPI to control the display, and using I2C to control the brush, temperature and humidity and that kind of sensors. Temperature, humidity, air quality. Check this out. Fetch and execute, and fetch and execute, fetch, execute. So it doesn't really stay on the same, what do you call it? It doesn't stay on the same program counter. It actually executes code. And then what does it do? Inside of it, you have something called a register file, which is where your registers are. Here you go. That's synchronous. It has selections RS1, RS2, and RD. And then you have data out for RS1 and for RS2, and then data in to write to it. And then the CPU itself has a bus for instructions, for where it's going to take the instructions from. Another one separate to look up data, to access data. And then the register file itself. And then, other than that, we also have block RAM for random access memory. So that's a bit slower memory than using the registers, but doesn't make a big difference. Further to that, we have UART, which is universal asynchronous, I don't know what. GPIO, very important. So you can access whatever, you can write code to access whatever kind of memory bus. Let's say you want to use it in a car with CAN. Then you have a time component where you can query what time it is. And then you have the ROM, which I suppose was connected to, well, which is allocated to a different memory range than RAM. So RAM, ROM, and all of these cores, they are accessible by memory. So you don't need any special instructions. You just access them by memory, direct memory access. And then here you have the SPI master, as I mentioned. You can use it for external codes, or you can access SD cards, and then the I2C. With this, you can do many things. You can have as well I2S, which is for audio, but the I2C, I use it for this Bosch sensor. Then here you have master in, slave out, master out, slave in, serial clock. Right, so you have all of these peripherals, they are just simply allocated as constants. What was ILA again? Right, there's something called ILA from Xilinx that allows you to probe signals while it's running. So I can put the probe in and then see it in real time, not just simulate it, actually see what the signal is in real time. And that helps us narrow down where we have a critical path. So as you could see with total negative slack, that's not a good thing. So you can actually narrow down what you're looking for in terms of bugs. Then here you have inputs and outputs. This is obviously an input to initiate the reset using buttons. The starter kit from, was it Digilent? I can't remember exactly. I think it was Digilent, because all boards I had so far were from Digilent. And by the way, this is not sponsored by Digilent, but if Digilent wants to sponsor me, I'm open to it. I'd be very happy about that, because I really want to start doing a big project on FPGA again, because just doing software hasn't been that fulfilling. It's a whole lot better when you have hardware to work with. So again, the GPIO, UART, time, RAM, SPI master, I2 master, I2C master. Oh, right, the ROM, that's used for the initiation code. It's just like on Xbox 360. It has ROM on the CPU chip itself, and you cannot change it. So it has to be free from, it's for starting up your configuration, and it cannot have any flaw. It has to be flawless and as short as possible, because it takes up space. It takes up LUTs, lookup tables, which is your currency when it comes to FPGA. And then you have the CPU itself. I'll go into the CPU itself, but then that's it. That will be it for today. As you can see here, this is written very clean. It iterates through the peripheral, so you don't have to actually write each one of them separately. And here you can see the access for the SD card. And then you have OLEDs as well for extra debugging. So let's go over the CPU. Sources, there it is. This is a RISC-V compatible CPU. I will just go really quickly over this. If you have any questions, just write a comment. And if you would like, please leave a like, so that more people can see this and we can get this thing started. So as usual, you have a reset and a clock. Reset is to set everything to its default value. Clock is to drive the states forward. And then you have the instruction memory bus and the data memory bus and the register file. They are all separate. This could do some, I reckon this could have some improvements. As well as division. Division, I now know how to do it a couple of years later when I now have more experience with just basic mathematics, but making it more trivializing mathematics so that divisions don't have to take that long. And I can implement it in VHDL, but I won't do it today, probably not tomorrow. I don't have a development kit. If anybody wants to donate one, I would be ecstatic about that. I'd like to try Zinc or anything similar on from Xilinx. Let's see what they have. System on chip would be good. Vertex is also very, very nice. Ultrascale Plus. This would be my dream board, but I reckon something like this would also be good enough. Zinc 7000. But Vertex, I remember Vertex 2 from university, and those are very performant. Too bad I've never worked with it. I only had Spartan 3E. Well, I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity to work with Spartan 3E in 2000, was it 8? Yeah, 2008, in from September to December 2008, maybe even later, maybe into 2009. But yeah, so let's go over the CPU a little bit. This is how I used to do a division, but I'll work on it as soon as I have a board again. And then we have a state machine. The default states is fetching instruction, and then if instruction is ready, we switch over to the next state. And as you can see here, this isn't using rising edge or whatever. This is all asynchronous. And then during execution, we're just rerouting signals. And then what is synchronous is going to latch these things. It's going to save what you have created asynchronously to take into your memory. Can you actually see my screen? Yes. Just making sure. And then there are separate signals for every instruction that's going to happen. Unlike with other CPUs, they have everything synchronous. This does make a difference. It really does make a difference in the critical path. Because instead of having it all linear, you have it all parallel. And this parallelity is very important. Parallelicity. And then you have load into register. Unfortunately, this software doesn't work well with variables, so I had to use the actual signal lines. But here you get the gist of it. Here's for branching instructions. Here's for jump and link, which is also a branching instruction. But you save the return value to which you will go when you do a return. And then decode B type instructions. So there are branches, R type instructions is addition, subtraction, shift left, exclusive OR, shift right, OR, and. So basic ALU, you can think of this. Then addition with immediate value, shift left with immediate, XOR with immediate. And we're coming to an end. And that's about it for today. I don't want to have a video that's too long that nobody will care about. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.